Hello, dear students. How are you? Hope you all are keeping well. Well, yesterday I had discussed about the chapter, the last lesson from your book, Flamingo. I had discussed about the writer Alphonse Daudet, the French novelist as well as the short story writer. I had discussed about the background of the story. We came to know about France being defeated at the hands of Prussia. Its two districts, Alsace and Lorraine, had been now under the rule of Germany, and the people of these two French districts, Alsace and Lorraine, were now being enslaved by Germany. Their own native language, that is French language, had been snatched away from them, and now they had to learn this new foreign language, that is German language. The narrator, little Franz, he was unaware of this fact when he started for the school. After reaching the school, he comes to know about this truth, and this reality comes as a deep shock to him. He is not able to bear this idea of getting deprived of speaking his own language. His teacher, Mr. M. Hemmel, he reveals the truth to him and to the other people in the classroom, and all the people are under great shock. Now, dear children, let's see what happens in the next part of the story. After knowing the fact that there would be no more teaching of French language in the school, Franz, who used to be a very careless student earlier, suddenly developed interest in his books and forgot all about the ruler of his teacher. Now it was his turn to recite the rules of participles, but he got confused and stood silent. M. Hemmel did not scold him this time. He behaved very patiently with him. Mr. M. Hemmel points out the habit of procrastination among the citizens of Alsace and Lorraine. He says that people hardly gave importance to French. Franz was not to be blamed for alone. He held himself, that is teachers, parents, students and society responsible for the present situation. He said that all of them had ignored their own native language. Further, he declared that French language was the most beautiful, logical and the clearest language in the world, and they must guard it and never forget it. Thereafter, he tries to give them all he knew about French language before going away. He tells them that when people are enslaved, their language acts as a key to their prison. These words of M. Hemmel make Franz and the old people of the village realize their folly, and they all try to grasp every bit of it now. Franz feels very bad for his teacher, who was to leave them the next morning. He had given 40 years of his life to them. Then the church clock struck 12. M. Hemmel had to go now. He stood up, but he looked very pale. He tried to speak, but his emotions didn't allow him to speak. So he turned to the blackboard and wrote as large as he could, "Vive la France! Long live France!" And in this way he dismissed the class. So dear children, here the story comes to an end. I have discussed the summary of the chapter with you. But now the summary is not sufficient. You all have to go through the chapter for line to line reading in order to know the minute details of the story, which are very, very important from examination point of view, since the questions can be put from any part of the story. So I advise you all to go for a line to line reading of the chapter, and not only once, but it can be done twice or thrice, so that you don't skip on any point of the story. So dear children, in the beginning of this chapter, I had asked you to pay attention to certain phrases or expressions given at the front. So here are these phrases with meanings. These will add to the vocabulary of all of you. In great dread of. This phrase means fear of. Secondly, counted on. Counted on means depended on. In unison means at the same time or all together. A great bustle, it means a lot of noise created by many people. To reproach, it means to blame. Thumped at the edges means damaged or torn at the edges. So not only these phrases, dear children, you have to, while going through the chapter, you will come across many new words. Here you must take the help of dictionary to find out the meanings of those words which you are reading for the first time. So vocabulary enrichment is very, very important if you want to be fluent in your English. So based on today's part of the story, here are a few questions for you. Try to solve these questions. If you encounter any problem, you can always discuss it with me. First question is, Franz did not learn French. Whom did M. Hamel blame for it and why? Number 2, what do you think is the theme of the story, The Last Lesson? What is the reason behind its universal appeal? Third question is, Franz's attitude towards school, as well as Mr. M. Hamel, changes when he comes to know about the takeover of his village by Prussians. Do you agree? Discuss with reference to the story, The Last Lesson. So this is all for today. Rest of the things we'll discuss in the next video. Thank you.